Hello and welcome. You're watching France 24's Tech Show. In case you were wondering, Black Mirror is already here. Authorities in the Chinese Hebei province are now testing an app which will enable users to check on the debt status of people around them. It's part of China's social credit score system, a policy that's raising ethical and privacy concerns. And as the world population is globally aging and as people are living longer thanks to medtech breakthroughs, we take a look at the so-called silver economy, or how older adults represent a massive opportunity for nearly every industry. It looks like a naval radar scanning for enemy ships. The Deadbeat Map is an add-on to the Chinese social media platform WeChat. It allows users to pinpoint the location of those who have failed to pay their debts within a 500-meter radius. For more on this, let's now turn to our in-house expert, Dan and Jay Kettlecar. Glad to have you on set, Dan. This naming and shaming app essentially is China's latest tool to monitor the behavior of its citizens and to pretty much distinguish between those who are trustworthy and those who are disobedient. It's pretty terrifying. Tell us more about this app.
Well, as you mentioned, this is part of China's social credit system, which is reportedly going to be mandatory by 2020. So this is a measure by the local province Hebei to, as we also mentioned, to know if there are people within 500 meters radius who are in debt. And the objective of the system is essentially to monitor these debtors and also to alert authorities, so users can alert authorities if these debtors or some of these debtors seem capable of paying their debts. And this again points to this social credit system, which is all about judging the trustworthiness of the people. So for example, your credits, you can have more credits or less credits depending on your ability to, say, repay the loans, or even simple things like behavior on a bus. So this is taken into account, and there have been instances where people have been denied, for example, the ability to buy high-speed train tickets or even to book flights. So as you can see, there is a monitoring of how people behave, and accordingly, people will either be denied some benefits. And this is essentially the social credit system.
I mean, we're pointing to China, but here too, there's a sort of Black Mirror effect. We all have a financial credit score, and more we're asked to grade, you know, our Uber drivers, but also our Airbnb hosts. So it is something essentially that's coming into our society slowly but surely. Yeah,
I mean, let's take the example of a classroom. There's this popular classroom app called Class Dojo. It essentially is an app that monitors the behavior of students, and it also enables a direct communication line between teachers and parents. Now, what it does is that it allows teachers to give the so-called dojo points. So students with abilities such as hard work and perseverance get points, and those who lack certain skills or are not attentive enough, their points get deducted. Now, critics have mentioned that this system, it first of all makes the classroom atmosphere overly competitive, right. And secondly, it also labels certain students in situations, and those students who are sensitive may get affected by it. So yeah, these are the concerns raised by critics.
Right, and understandably so, this could definitely affect their self-esteem. Thank you so much for that, Dan. There are about 962 million people over the age of 60 in the world today. That's more than twice as many as there were in 1980, and that number is expected to double again by 2050. The aging population is one of the most important trends in the world, but it's also an important business opportunity. Some companies have already jumped on board, like the French startup Aldebaran, who has developed a robot to help senior citizens.
Bonjour à tous.
This is Zora, a robot that is spreading laughter at this nursing facility in Jouarre, in the outskirts of Paris. Every 2 weeks, she amuses groups of residents with her skills. She dances, speaks, and plays games. But her most important feature is giving individualized attention to residents. Michael Ferré is the man behind the machine. He controls Zora through a special software on his computer, all financed by an NGO. Michael says the robot has become a vital part of his job.
Technology is developing very quickly. Caregivers need help, and I think robots can give that aid. With Zora, we can record the conversations she has with patients. It helps us discover certain things to help nurses take better care of them, like a pain they feel that we were unaware of.
Some residents have become so taken by Zora that they've developed a maternal bond with the robot. For Madeleine, an 83-year-old retiree, playing with Zora brings back memories of her years working with children.
She's just like the kids at kindergarten, except she listens to me.
Other residents, however, are not as impressed by the robot.
Those who have an understanding of technology are not actually very interested. They are too rational and can't bond with her.
Even though Zora brings joy to many, her limitations prevent her from having substantial medical relevance. But for the staff and residents at Jouar's nursing facility, Zora's capabilities are plenty, at least for now.
From engaging senior citizens to increasing their quality of life as they age, the so-called silver economy is booming. Estimates put the global value of this new market at 92 billion euros a year. Well, to speak more about this, let's turn to Laurence Lafont, the president of Silver Valley, an accelerator for silver economy in France, and the COO at Microsoft France. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, everyone. Thanks to you.
So what are the biggest challenges that aging consumers and their families face today, and how is the silver economy helping solve these problems?
So, the first thing is that people aging are willing to have a great experience and age well. So, of course, it's having the right environment, positive behaviors for their health, preserving their desire, ensuring that they can enjoy life. One of the things very important is that, we feel sometimes that all people are dependent people, which is absolutely not true. It's only actually 8% of this population which is dependent. So there's a very heterogeneous range of aging people, and we want and we need actually to understand their wishes, their way of life. This is a study we have done at Silver Valley, and one of the very important things we are doing is ensuring that we are working on inclusive design, meaning integrating all people, senior people in all the innovations we drive with our ecosystem of startups, of companies, of administrations in France to ensure that we understand their wishes, we understand, their aspirations, and we can really drive innovation which will answer to that.
Many French silver economy startups were at the CES this year. Is France becoming a land of opportunity for this business?
Yes, absolutely. France is a great environment for this business. Actually, I think it's one of the most advanced countries in the world who has really focused on building an industrial sector for aging economy. That was in 2013. So we are really, as a country, boosting and favoring innovation for aging economy. Some examples at CES were great. I mean, we had startups, which you can see, eVote, WWW, Morphe Plus, who are really building innovations to detect falls, for instance, to ensure, we can predict when people need to go to the toilets and so on. So those kind of very easy cases, but that can contribute to a well-being for people getting older. At Silver Valley, we are really aiming at focusing on this innovation. We're the biggest innovation ecosystem in France, really dedicated to elderly people and looking at helping startups grow, helping startups connect with also large companies who are looking at how they will evolve their products, their services to address the aging population and this business opportunity.
Laurence Lafont there, the president of Silver Valley and the COO at Microsoft France. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
It's time for Test 24. I'm equipped with a WT2. It's a wearable translator that gives you the opportunity to engage in a foreign language conversation in real time. Dan, this can really come in handy while traveling.
Well, not just traveling, even for business discussions, because it offers real-time translations in 6 languages currently, but they're going to roll out more languages with the new updates. And the biggest advantage of this system is that unlike handheld translators, one of which I tested in IFA Berlin last year, this offers you a natural mode of conversation, so you can have your natural expressions, natural way of
you
talking,
can use your hands,
hand gestures, exactly, instead of holding that translator in hand. So that's one advantage. Second is that all you need is an app. So you connect these two. I'm also, by the way, wearing one earbud. So you connect these earpieces to a dedicated app through Bluetooth connection. And here you can see there are multiple options. One is the auto mode. So you start talking directly. So for example, I have put an English to French translation mode. So I'm the one speaking French, and hopefully you'll be able to hear the translation within no time.
Let's try this.
Bonjour Julia, comment ça va?
Yeah, I can hear you. Perfect. No, and the English is correct. Everything's good.
Now this is one mode. The second mode is called the touch mode. So if there's plenty of noise around you, so this enables the noise cancellation feature. So all you have to do is tap on this device, and only then it will get activated. And the moment you remove it, so it doesn't you hear other sounds. And the third mode is the speak mode. So you can use your app directly to talk to, say, a stranger in his or her language. So right now it's from English to French. So you are supposed to say a phrase in English.
Hello, Dan. How are you?
Bonjour Dan, comment vas-tu?
It's pretty impressive, right?
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, it just takes a couple of seconds to translate. Yeah.
Even though the sentence was very easy.
So this is made by a tech startup called Timmekettle. Yeah, just to tell you who made this interesting earpieces. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dan. That brings us to the end of this week's edition of Tech 24, but you can watch it again on our website, france24.com. See you next time.